Yeah, I definitely like that. I definitely like that. Like saying that. Tight end one, Panay Sewell. Welcome one, welcome all. It is the phone sessions. I'm your host, Russell Wayne. Thank you. Thank you for watching on any of the platforms that we have out there. Please give us a like and a follow at Detroit Lions, Villain Squad, and NFC North Open Mic. Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan. Thank you, everybody, for coming on here and being an avid football fan. Avid football fan is watching a football show with a talking head on June 21st, 2023. Here we are going into an exciting football season. It should be an exciting football season, I think. What do you think? On the cover photo, you saw a picture of Joey Harrington on there. What is the biggest draft bust in your lifetime for one of your teams? I mean, I don't know where you're watching from. Are you looking at the Detroit Lions? Are you looking at the Chicago Bears? Are you looking at? All right. So drop a comment in there. Tell me what team that you represent. Well, I am adding a couple other people to our stream right here as we get going. I don't know if we can do this. Can we do this? They're going to like it? We're going to go live. We're going live. Bill the Packer fan. Detroit Lions news. We're going live. NFC North Open Mic. We're going live. My name's Russell Wayne. This is the NFC North phone sessions. And right here, and we're talking draft busts. We're talking draft busts. Joey Harrington was actually number 5 on the biggest draft busts of all time for the Detroit Lions. He wasn't even the worst draft pick of all time by the Detroit Lions. Can you believe that? They actually had worse draft picks than Joey Harrington? No. Joey Harrington. How about Charles Rogers? Charles Rogers. Oh my gosh. Charles Rogers. And then they double down the year after that and they draft Mike Williams. We've been through some hard times here in Detroit, folks. What is the biggest draft bust in your team's history? If you're a Green Bay Packer fan, Tony Mandrich, that's got to be at the top of your list. Throw that in the comments. Who's the biggest draft bust? Who's the biggest draft bust in your team's history? What's my name? My name is Russell Wayne. I'm with the Mane Event 365. This is the phone sessions. We decided that we are avid football fans. Casual football fan is checked out. The draft comes in, the draft goes. Casual football fan, they go into baseball, they go into basketball, watching the end of the hockey, all that. But avid football fan is looking for any type of football content right here. They're looking for the football content in June. I want to know about my backup punter. Let's go. Minneapolis coming in with the skull. Let me go ahead and I'm going to drop a link into all these pages right here so everybody can join if they want to. You want to join the conversation? We're just talking some football. We're talking draft busts. And I saw Charles Rogers on here. Call tall Paul, says Charles Rogers. Absolutely, man. God, we thought we was going to the Super Bowl. We're like, man, look at that. We got Charles Rogers and Mike Williams. Yeah. Things are looking good. Drafted Joey Harrington. Let's go. Okay. Oh, man. It's been an awful time as a Lion fan. Bosworth. Call him Bosworth. Yes. Is that all-time draft busts? Who is it? Who is it? You got to be able to help me out, Evan. We're talking draft bust, man. All this fun stuff.
Stop playing with us.
Tony Mandrich.
I mean, he's got, oh, wow, just in time. Oh, just before the copyright comes through, we got main event Mike on the line, too. And we're talking draft bust just in time.
Just in time.
Oh, how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing so good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Evan, can you hear Michael?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So we're in a good hearing situation right here. We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad, the NFC North Mane Event, Detroit Lions news, Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, and subscribe to our YouTube channels because we want to reach as many people as possible with this topic right here. Got Bosworth in here. We got Tony Mandrich coming in straight from Evan right there. All-time draft bust, main event Mike.
All-time or Lions?
I'm talking Lions, man. We're NFC North.
I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back for you guys, and for some of you are too young to remember. But at one time, the Detroit Lions had the number 1 overall pick, and they chose a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who never materialized as a starter. So that has to qualify as the biggest bust in Lions history. One University of Houston quarterback named Andre Ware.
Oh, yeah. And just so you know, I was actually referring to a Detroit Lions bust article right from Bleacher Report is where I got this information. Joey Harrington came in at number 5, and yes, sir. Yes, sir. You had picked the number 1 Detroit Lion bust of all time, according to Bleacher Report. So good call, my friend. Good call.
What did I win?
Well, you won a brand new pat on the back from your phone session host, Russell Wayne.
Get a participation trophy.
A participation trophy. Yes.
Playoffs.
That feels better than tickets to Lambeau. Hey, I got to see Lambeau Field. That one is on my bucket list. I am going to go see a game at Lambeau Field when we get to crush the Green Bay Packers once again. It'll feel so good. Doesn't it, Evan? Say it with me. No? Okay, you're not getting with me.
Stop playing with us.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to go there with you. So we got Travis Best. Like, just understand that if you're naming off busts, I probably don't know who they are if they're from your team.
That would be, I don't know, Javid Best.
Yeah, I think that's what he might, Travis Best. I think you might be talking about Javid Best, and I wouldn't call that a bust. I mean, you think he's a bust?
Fuck, a first-round pick, he's a bust.
Well, he did get injured out of the league. He got concussioned out of the league. He did. That was the last game-breaking speed guy that we had. His career was cut short due to concussion. So I guess you could put that as a bust, but not as big of a bust as Mitch's bust in Jelani Tavai.
Jelani Tavai led the Patriots at tackles last year. He's not a bust yet. And by the way, what defines a bust? If you're a third-round pick and you don't make it in the league, you're not a bust.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think first and second round picks that I think first
round pick to be considered a bust.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I could argue high second round as well, because if you don't get through, it's even worse if you don't get through your entire rookie contract and get dropped before that.
Yeah, that definitely would fall into criteria of what makes a bust. You were drafted in the first round. You didn't make it to a second contract.
Well, that sucks. Then now we're only going to be now we're only going to be talking about Lion players, dude. I mean, you're really just eliminating a lot of the other teams.
Packers got a couple. Yeah. I'm mad at.
Maybe a couple. Gosh, we got 3 for your every one.
you can't include Jelani Tavai. I mean, if you're going to include him, then you got to include Jordan Love.
But we re-signed him. I mean, you can't really include Jordan Love yet because he hasn't. It's not that he hasn't played; he hasn't had a chance.
So we won't put on Jelani Tavai. So since we've defined this characteristic, we can definitely put Mike Williams on that list. Or do you not remember him? Was he so irrelevant that you don't remember him?
Yeah.
Mike Williams.
Roy Williams, Kevin Jones, those were all busts because they didn't make an impact on the franchise long enough. They were out of the league when they left the Lions for most part.
Right.
I mean,
someone put Kevin Jones on that list, and
for sure,
yeah.
first round bust.
Okay.
He's a bust.
Hey, you have that fantastic Kevin Jones jersey. I was just, I mean, and now you have a.
It's now an Alex Anzalone jersey.
Oh, okay.
But,
I see what you did there. I like that. I like that. Alex Anzalone.
So I want to share with your audience the story. I remember I was sitting in the Motor City Casino, and it was draft day. And I was there on a trip. I think the band was playing at the casino, and we had some downtime. And it's like, oh, it's draft day. It's one of my favorite days. Who are the Lions going to take? Oh, my God. If they're going to take Joey Harrington, I can't believe it. This quarterback out of Oregon, he's going to be the savior of our franchise. And I bought a round for everyone in the bar at the Motor City Casino when they drafted Joey Harrington. And I really thought beautiful things were on the horizon. And then, of course, Joey turned out to be a bust. And then years later, I take my daughter to her first Lions game on Thanksgiving at Ford Field, and Joey Harrington is the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and they blow us out, and Joey throws for 4 touchdowns. So
stop playing with us.
Joey Harrington, definitely a guy that we thought was going to be the savior of the franchise, but it just turned out to be same old Lions with him, right? It was a bad draft pick. Turns out he couldn't decision make. He couldn't read defenses, a lot like the guy they got in Chicago.
Yeah. But let me add, I mean, what's different now? I mean, why should a Lion fan believe in what's going on now when this is really what the history consists of, is a bunch of this?
That's easy. That's easy to answer because Brad Holmes started with a to-do list, and he started crossing these things off the list methodically. He shed these big contracts that the Lions would always get themselves into. He stopped overpaying for mid-tier talent, for locking them into 3- and 5-year contracts.
Right.
Instead, he does 1-year prove-it deals. And he shed the old ways, and now he's built the offensive and defensive lines, another thing the Lions never did before. So that's why Lions fans now can say that this is different. That now this optimism doesn't revolve around one player coming to save our franchise like Joey Harrington. And all you're doing is setting that player up for failure. If Joey Harrington had all the physical tools, if he would have been drafted by a different team, who knows what his career could have been.
Yeah, I believe in some of that but I do believe that like the NFL is so hard that it can knock the moxie right out of you, because it is that difficult of a league. But at the end of the day, the guys that, the ones that are the greats, they shake themselves out of that, and they elevate their teams. So I don't like giving the excuses, because I mean, when you look at his numbers, they're absolutely abysmal. I mean, he threw way more interceptions than he did touchdowns, and you can't just blame that all on the team. At the end of the day, you got to hold up your end of the bargain too. So that is a big bust for me. It was disappointing for me. I was one of the people that bought in and thought that he was going to be the savior, and was completely disappointed. But I do believe in this regime now, because we've never built a franchise like this before. In the Lions history, I've never seen them build from the inside out and grab these guys that are going to win fights in the trenches. And that's where we're the strongest. All this other, these little sexy picks with, Jahmyr Gibbs and, Laporte, all these little sexy guys that can run around and break tackles and stuff. At the end of the day, they're just out there in space for our big road blockers, the strength of our team, our bullies of the Detroit Lions are going to come through. And those guys,
the Motown bullies.
Yep. The Motown bullies are just going to push people out the way. And those good, fast guys that they got are just going to get the benefit. They get to reap the gold.
Russ, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to go see if MotownBullies.com is available.
You like that? You like that? I probably heard that somewhere else. I don't want to take credit for that. I probably heard that. Ernie Sims was a bust. Now that was a bust like I've never seen. They thought he was going to be like a running back and a linebacker. Oh, he's gonna play both sides of the ball. It's like,
God, what a sore spot that is. Who mentioned that? Good call out by that caller.
Yeah, that was Roy. Thank you, Roy, for the comment.
Great call out.
Ken Fisher says Andre Ware. God, hey, I'm sorry, Evan. This is probably going to make you smile because we're gonna list off all these Detroit Lion busts.
I'm having a blast. You want me to list off one of mine?
Yeah, one. Give me your one.
2007, Justin Harrell. He was a 16th overall pick, got 0 sacks, and played only 14 games.
Wow, that's a bust.
That is a bust.
Number 16.
Hey,
Here's the fun part, though. All the Packers fans knew he was going to be a bust because when they drafted him, everybody booed, and they were right.
Yeah, but when you know the bust, when I'm thinking, but like disappointing bust. Now I know this was a 2nd round pick, Mike, but I like this call out right here by Mitch. Mitch says Titus Young.
Who?
Titus Young. He was
yeah, now I remember him. Yeah, he was a wide receiver.
Yeah, and he got like arrested, and then got a second chance and then I don't remember what his story was, but it was just like awful. I know he was a 2nd round pick, but they did have high expectations for him.
Yeah, he went to Boise State.
What? We talking bus? Gotta go with Jahmyr Gibbs. Come on, Mike. Already? We're calling Jahmyr Gibbs a bust already? You heard it here first. Right here, phone sessions. Mike's calling Jahmyr Gibbs a bust.
He's going to bust that ass.
There you go.
Stop playing with us. You like that?
Oh, good stuff on here. I like a lot of these calls in the comments, man. You guys are the ones that fuel this show, so keep them coming right here. Tony Mandrich got some love right there. Jason says, I think we will definitely surprise some of the teams this year. Okay. That's a little off topic right there. Charles Rogers. Yes. And a lot of people forgot about the very next year, them selecting Mike Williams. And that was the guy who played at USC, and he didn't even play.
Yeah, that's 3 drafts in a row right there. They drafted Joey Harrington. The next year, they drafted Charles Rogers. They gave him a weapon. Oh, ye of the glass collarbone, Charles Rogers. And the list goes on and on. Brandon Pettigrew. Eric Ebron became a Pro Bowler. Still a bust in my book.
Right. He's still a bust. They threw him. He became a Pro Bowler, but they just throw the ball to tight ends over there right there. But here's a comment for the Green Bay Packer right here. 2001, Jamal Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh, that was my next one I was going to bring up.
Hey.
He played for 3 years and only got 3 sacks, and he was the 10th overall pick.
Oh, wow. And that's back when they were paying the 10th overall pick like real dudes. Like,
how about every quarterback the Bears have selected since Jim McMahon?
Yeah, that's
It's my quarterback.
Every quarterback since Bart Starr for us until we got Favre.
Oh man, you guys have had the embarrassment of riches in that way. We're getting Mike Williams love. We're getting Roy Williams love on this. Do y'all think it's possible to be a bust? Yeah, no one's a bust this year. I think that, I mean, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, people that are first-time listeners here, we represent the entire NFC North here, even though I'm a Lions fan. Evan is a Green Bay Packer fan. So all of our takes are going to be awful because 75% of the time, I mean, people think we're full of crap because the other 3 fan bases are here. So there is a little trolling going on here. So them calling Jahmyr Gibbs a bust already, it may be a little premature. And it may turn out to bite you in that ass before it's all said and done. Gregory says, keep up the good work. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you for tuning in.
How about DeAndre Swift as a bust?
I think that we could constitute it from the Lions side of it. he has a chance to resurrect his career, but he was definitely a bust here. He did not live up to, because second round running backs are like first round picks. I think we can make that case because just they've devalued the position. You know, Jonathan Taylor was a second round pick.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's been a lot of really, really good second round picks. Kenneth Walker was a second round pick.
No, for sure. Because like you said, they devalued the running backs. You don't see him going in the first round. I mean, only 2 in the first round this year. So
we got a couple people agreeing with you, or one person that put it in twice. Sorry, TJ says Javid Best. I agree with that. Brian Bosworth.
Wow, the
Boz. Yeah, dude, he had the look though. Dude, if he was awesome, he would have ruled Sports Illustrated and Wheaties boxes and all that. Like, he could have taken it. He had the haircut. Yeah, he had it going on. Brian Bosworth just couldn't get it done right there. How about
steroids are what killed him.
How about Aaron Gibson and Teddy Lehman?
There you go. That's Chicago Bears, isn't it?
No, those are Lions. These are, I mean, when you put the cap on first and second round pick, I mean, the other 3 franchises have not been nearly as bad as us. So, like,
yeah, I know. It's crazy. You keep mentioning all these names. Now I remember Teddy Lehman. Yeah. Come on. Good call.
Oh, I mean, he's going to be the next. He's the next.
We have short memory.
Yeah, you have to.
Short memories as Lions fans, because I don't even remember these guys, but it's all coming back to me now. And, it's kind of painful as we relive all the busts the Detroit Lions have had. It's sad, really.
But I do think it does lend to the fact that why we are excited, because we know what bust looks like. We know what teams that are like ready to be, Charlie Brown getting the ball pulled out at the last second and loosely laughing at us. Like, we know what that team looks like, and it's not the team that we have. The team that we have is much different than that. There is depth at different spots that we've never had depth before. So it's like, it's interesting. It doesn't mean that we're going to win 13 games, but it does mean that at least this new regime is not doing the same sins that our predecessors did before. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's a great point. At least we know that it's being done the right way, and our franchise is being set up to be contenders every year. The way he's working the salary cap to keep us competitive, not just this year, but 10 years from now.
So I mean, I meant this to be an interesting topic, and it has been an interesting topic, but it is kind of pathetic when you look at our history. But you had a topic that you wanted to hit and you wanted to bring to the table that was a serious topic for this year and for Lion fans that are listening right now. We got a question for you, Mike. Would you like to frame that question for
my question for the NFC North: what is your biggest fear for your team for the 2023 season? Example, Evan, for the Green Bay Packers. If I were a Packer fan, my biggest fear is that Jordan Love doesn't pan out, right? I mean, that he's not as built, that you got rid of a Hall of Fame quarterback and now you're left with an unproven guy, and that's a scary proposition. So what is your biggest fear for your team? If I'm a Bear fan, my biggest fear is that DJ Moore isn't enough to make Justin Fields a good quarterback. If I'm a Viking fan, my biggest fear is the defense is going to be the worst in the history of the league, and it doesn't matter how many points we score on offense. So it would be interesting to hear what the other fan bases are going to say about what is their biggest fear for 2023. For me, my biggest fear for the Lions comes down to one man and one foot, and that is Frank Ragnow and his plantar fasciitis tendon that is pulled away from his foot, and it will never be fixed. It's inoperable. At times, it can be an excruciating injury that leaves him out of the starting lineup. At other times, it can be an injury where he can play through it and still be 90% effective. So if he goes down, have the Lions done enough in the department of depth to handle the center position to make a playoff run or even win the division?
That is a fantastic take, Mike. I love that take. And before you answer that question, because I want you to answer that question first, Evan, because you have your own fears about what your team would do. But yes, please put that into the comment. And if you have not already, if you're a Packer fan, you need to go follow Bill the Packer fan. He is our resident Packer fan, and he's the one that is going to bat on the open mic each and every Monday. Go Mike the Bear fan. He's the one that's fighting for all of you Bear fans every Monday. And Detroit Lions Villain Squad, if you are a Lion fan, go follow that page in the NFC North Mane Event. That's where we're making all of this stuff happen. And I want you to answer that question. What is your biggest fear for your team in the NFC North that if it materialized, that would just kind of ruin your whole year? Go ahead, Evan, and answer that question.
All right. So, of course, main event Mike hit on that. Jordan Love. Jordan Love being a big bust is one of them. But there's another one that a lot of people don't think about. And it's that if Rodgers goes and wins a Super Bowl with the Jets, that's one of my biggest fears is he does that. And then that proves that we should have been listening to Rodgers this entire time and not listening to LaFleur. That's a big fear that nobody ever thinks about.
Oh, I'm so glad you exposed that, Evan. I am going to be rooting for the Jets in the AFC this year, buddy.
I love that take. That was so far left field. That was good. That was awesome. That was better than good. That was what a great take. I'm so glad that you come on here in the morning and you represent the Green Bay Packers. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know. And then he leaves. Yeah, no, it was he comes right back in. No, but what I'm going to do is I copy and pasted. Here's the StreamYard link. The StreamYard link is going into all of these spots right here. In the Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, come represent your team. Come have a conversation with us. You don't have to be in the comments, and we ain't going to tease you as bad as we do on Monday nights. We save that for the thick-skinned people, okay? So, but I do want to get into some of these comments in here. They were hitting on Jordan Love may torch at for stretches, and they won't carry entire games as a team.
That's a good take. I mean, he's young, right? He's athletic. I mean, he's scary. That's a fear that I have, is that Jordan Love is going to be the next great Green Bay quarterback. He could be the next Jalen Hurts or a mix of those kind of things. Yeah. And if so, Packers are going to be formidable. That is a fear that I have, that no matter how good my team is, we're never going to be able to overcome that hump that is Green Bay.
Yeah, it's like you can look at Jordan Love and you can look at Justin Fields as a rival fan. In your mind, on the outside, you're saying, yeah, those guys haven't done nothing. Yeah, whatever. Fields ain't done nothing. But at the same time, there is that lingering PTSOL that's like, wow, what if Justin Fields all of a sudden finds that balance and understands how to play people against the run and the pass? And Jordan Love is the same thing. I mean, he's athletic. He can escape the pocket, so he can be a magician too. So if he is on the level of where Aaron Rodgers was, or even 80% of that, they could have a good season. So that is a good fear right there to have. Mitch says that Lions' fear is our two new running backs failing, whether it's for health reasons or fumbles.
That's a good point too. Yeah. I mean, we knew Jamal Williams was going to punch it in from the one. We saw what Aiden Hutchinson did to David Montgomery from the 1 yard line. And we knew that Jamal Williams wasn't going to fumble the ball, right? And we knew that when DeAndre Swift came in, there was going to be an electric play, a possibility of a touchdown every time he come on the field. You don't know those things with Jahmyr Gibbs and with David Montgomery. So I think that's a very good call out.
Yep. And the thing is like, that's one of the strengths that I had believed is like they bet on their offensive line as opposed to the running back, right? So he had 17 touchdowns, and the Lions franchise decided to bet on the fact that had more to do with, Frank Ragnow with his busted up toe moving people out of the way anyway, even though he was injured, and Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell moving those guys out of the way and making life easier for these running backs. So it is a fear, but I would believe in this fear that not to believe in this fear because of Brad Holmes and the consistency that he's brought to the table and the decisions that he's made. I think this is the right one and it's going to show, but that is a fear. That is a great fear, because if they do fumble the ball all the time and they have bad years, then yeah, that's a catastrophic miss for Brad Holmes. That would be a huge indictment on the trust factor that he's, worked pretty hard to build so far.
And people do trust him.
They trust him. That would definitely blemish that trust if he misses on Gibbs.
In Brad, we trust.
Right. Like, I mean, he bet on those guys, though. He bet on Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. And if those guys aren't top 10 players at their position, because you reached, you're paying them like a top 10 guy at those positions. So if they aren't that, then you reached. And you will be called a reacher, even if I like Brad Holmes. I like Brad Holmes. But if those guys aren't top 10 players, then the analytics and the money says that he reached. It is what it is.
That's right.
So Jamal Grant says, Lions fan, that Jameson Williams doesn't hold up to the hype. I'm with you on that one.
That's not a fear, though. I have no fear of that. You could take Jameson Williams off this team, and I wouldn't feel any different about it.
No, well, okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Stop playing with us.
That's right.
Let's say he was suspended for an entire year like Calvin Ridley.
Right.
Then I would consider him a bust. But I don't feel like my franchise's hopes hang on that guy at all. My franchise's hopes hang on Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those guys, Aiden Hutchinson, those guys. If those guys go, if something happens to those guys, then I'm worried. Jameson Williams, not even a bit.
I love that take. Mike, bless you. Bless you, dude, for coming up with that take right there, because the people from the outside that want to bring up the gambling every 5 minutes, they don't even realize that. It's like you're realizing you want me to lose sleep over my number 3 wide receiver not being on the field. The first, I mean, that's all he was last year. And we want him to be number 2. We do.
Right.
But he's not.
By the way, we brought in Marvin Jones ahead of the suspension, and we drafted Sam Laporta. So we've more than mitigated that loss for this season for sure.
Well, I mean, a Band-Aid on the loss. Like I had said yesterday, it's like those 3 wide receivers, like between Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, and Marvin Jones, is kind of like having 3 number 3 wide receivers. Like they're none of them.
That's what Band-Aid means. It's a Band-Aid. They've taken measures to offset that loss.
Right. But a lot of people would argue, and if you're one of those Lion fans that would argue this, that we need to go out into free agency, spend some money, and go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins. Throw that in the comments, because I want to know. Go ahead, hit that, Evan. You're chomping at the bit.
Actually, I was chomping at a different bit. I just thought of something funny. If I was a Bears fan, and my biggest fear for this season. Go ahead.
Please, I'm ready.
I'd be fearful of another Charles Martin situation, if you all know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Basically, back after the Bears won the Super Bowl with Jim McMahon, we had a man by the name of Charles Martin on the Green Bay Packers, who after McMahon threw the ball, about 10 seconds later, Charles Martin comes up behind him, takes him, and body slams him into the ground. And then he could never play football after that. It messed up his shoulder so bad.
I remember that. And you're saying if you're a Bear fan, you're worried about Justin Fields. One injury to Justin Fields, and they're a 0-win team.
Right.
Yep.
And that should have been the fear last year. We talked about that going into last year with Justin Fields. It's like, gosh, if they don't get him some help on the offensive line, he's going to be dead by week 5. Like, you do not want your quarterback taking that kind of pounding. I mean, oh yeah, he rushed for 1,100 yards. Yeah, he rushed for 1,100 yards. That's a problem. That's a problem if you want to win. If you want to win on a regular basis, I mean, he won't last 5 years in a league like that. And you want to extend this guy? He's going to want 60 million a year by the time that money comes up. Really? I mean, what are they getting right now? 50? Like the next highest paid guy? Ken Fisher says Goff is our key.
That's a good call. One injury, maybe no team is more dependent on the quarterback than Jared Goff when you consider the entire offense has been built around him. It's been renamed the Goffense, which is a registered trademark of the Mane Event 365, all rights reserved 2022. The Goffense and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson have tailor-made this offense in Detroit around Jared Goff. If he goes down, that could be a real problem. But here we see Brad Holmes again, thinking ahead. And Hendon Hooker essentially is Jared Goff from a physical tool standpoint, with more mobility. And he's learning in the system. So I think that, it would be huge for the Lions, though, to lose Goff.
It would be, but then again, because of what they did with the Hendon Hooker thing, it would depend on when. If you're talking week 10, Goff goes down. I mean, I think that Hendon Hooker will be ready by week 10 to step in case of an injury to be the backup.
But he's still a rookie. And there's a learning curve.
For sure.
I mean, that severely hampers our chances of doing much.
Well, sure, but name one NFL team where losing their starting quarterback wouldn't hamper their chance of success.
Miami Dolphins.
San Francisco 49ers. Miami Dolphins, yeah.
I mean, that's fair. You did that. That is a great that's a great one right there. San Francisco 49ers, a team with a great defense is what you're saying.
I might like PJ Walker instead of Justin Fields in Chicago. Him and DJ Moore have a rapport from Carolina. I think Chicago might be in a better position if they get a pocket passer.
So Rob says that Lions taking a step back or digress would be devastating as a fan, and it would shake confidence throughout the franchise. That's it.
Can't agree with that more. Yeah, can't agree with that more.
Because a lot of the teams that are out there they got a lot of this new faith because of new faces. The Lions have faith because of the faces that are already there, that are the foundation, that are going from year 2 to year 3 and from year 1 to year 2. They believe they have the franchise and they have the foundational pieces that are on rookie contracts, and they have surrounded those with veteran pieces like Sutton and Mosley and Gardner Johnson that can be vocal leaders. So they believe they have that all together. So Rob, that is a great call right there, because if all of those second and third year guys don't progress like we as Lions fans all think they can progress, then it's going to be disappointing, because that's where the team's going to become a 12, 13 win team if those guys progress. If not, you're stuck at 9 and 8. You're right in the middle of the pack. You're right there with a bunch of other NFL teams. We want to win championships, right? We've never won one. We want to win a championship. We want to win the frickin' North just once in my lifetime, right? So this is the best shot. That would be the biggest fear. That is a great call. Thank you, Rob, for the comment. Jason Smith and an injury-prone running backs. I don't know what team that you represent, but yeah, your running backs going down is a fear. That is a huge fear. Don't put that juju on us. We're not trying to put juju on it. We're just like the biggest fear is you gotta put the elephant out in the room, right? And it is June, so we have to get it out.
If I'm a Minnesota Viking fan, my biggest fear is that they extend Kwesi.
Yeah. And that is the God's honest truth. There is no, we don't pull any punches right here. We as a group, between Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, and we don't even have a resident Viking fan, because they know their team's going to be trash. They know they're going to lose every single division game that they play. They're going to be 0-6 in the division. They're not going to be able to stop anybody. That should be your biggest fear, because that's probably what's going to happen. And I know that you're on some purple Kool-Aid. The purple Kool-Aid is actually the best Kool-Aid when you look at Kool-Aid, like the grape. Gosh,
No.
yeah,
No. Everybody knows black cherry is the best Kool-Aid.
You're right. That is a good one. Black cherry. Gosh, that is. I mean, but purple Kool-Aid, purple drink. You can get that is good Kool-Aid to drink, but it is just Kool-Aid.
The great drink.
It is just Kool-Aid, and yeah, you guys had your best shot last year. You guys put your chips in, and now you're in salary cap hell. Oh no, we're out of salary cap. Yeah, after you cut all your good players, that's what salary cap hell is.
Yeah, they're tearing it down. They're making room so they can sign Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league.
There it is, right there.
You've got that. You've got a top 10 tight end. Okay, you got that. But the rest of your team, you got Christian Darrisaw at tackle. I mean, other than that, they've got so many.
You don't like Darrisaw? No,
I like Darrisaw.
I was talking to Evan. Evan gave a thumbs down. That's one of those things.
Well, let's hear Evan's take on Darrisaw.
Okay, I like them. It's just the Vikings themselves are putting too many chips into single players instead of trying to spread them out like the Lions have. Justin Jefferson proved if you just get one good cornerback on him like Sauce Gardner, Ramsey, Jair, he panics and does not produce. And then you'll have T.J. Hawkinson, but even then, like the little amount of talented weapons they have is very concerning from a standpoint if I was a Vikings fan.
So Adrian West right here says the Vikings' biggest fear would be losing Jefferson due to financial reasons. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no, I was going to just say that's a good call out by Evan because we saw what Jair Alexander did to Justin Jefferson. I think when you've got a deep enough secondary and you've only got one weapon over there, you could double team him, especially now that you don't have to worry about Dalvin Cook. You don't have to put 8 in the box to stop Dalvin Cook. You can put an extra defender to shut Justin Jefferson down. I'm staying away from Justin Jefferson in fantasy this year unless I can get him later, which you can't.
And that to your fear right there, like the Justin Jefferson and Darrisaw thing, I think they are intertwined. I meant to make those intertwined because I think that a guy like Dalvin Cook, when you have such a talented running back like that, he does tend to make offensive lines look better than they are. And I think they are absolutely going to feel the loss of Dalvin Cook because they aren't going to be stacking those boxes. And guys like Darrisaw could get exposed due to just schematic changes because if you're scheming to stop Dalvin Cook, you're not necessarily, scheming to get past Darrisaw, and that gives him an advantage of them trying to stop Dalvin Cook, putting 8 in the box, extra people right there. It makes him it makes him better. Them losing that guy.
No one is scheming for Alexander Madison.
Right. So that becomes a problem. And if they're trying to get $30 million a year out of this wide receiver, there is a chance, especially if they pay TJ Hawkinson, that they could lose Justin Jefferson to free agency because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to be given hometown discounts, if you know what I'm saying.
Or if some team's willing to pay out the wazoo for his services of being an elite wide receiver. It's just sometimes if you're such a good talent and they're trying to give you a little bit less than you think you deserve, you hit free agency, some team will just drop a stupid amount of money for you to go there simply because you'll sell jerseys and you'll play good damn football.
Right. But the thing is like when this type of thing happens, you do have to bet on all of your younger players because of the guys that are on the lighter contracts, and they are doing that. And actually, if I want to hit the other side of that fear, my fear is that the Vikings do have a couple pieces on defense, and that by bringing in up Booth and Scene and these guys that are on second and third years, that they actually do progress and become even a 19-20 defense. That offense with even a just below average defense, they could win 11, 12 games if that defense progresses at all under Flores. So that's my fear for the Viking side, because I've talked all this trash this offseason. But, yeah, it's not going to happen. You're still going to lose 6 games. All right. So sorry for some typos right here, meant. So Curtis says, amen. We won 9 games without Jameson. Barry from Scotland is up in the house. He says he's late. Sorry that he's late. It's no problem, man. We're going to be here. We like it. We like coming on here and talking football. And sometimes I even go a little bit over because it was just good conversation yesterday, and you guys were keeping it going, and I appreciate it. Adam says Goff's health isn't guaranteed, regardless of his performance. So that is a fear. Mike was just bringing that up. If Brown shows up like he was, which then Williams, will he be fine when he gets back? So he actually has some faith in Williams right there. And maybe we need to stop talking about the negatives right there.
Stop playing with us.
We're talking about what Amon-Ra is going to do. Here you go, Barry.
By the power of Ra.
There it is. Ken Fisher says, we're underrated at our wide receivers. Excellent and gifted. I would have to say that he's probably a Packer fan. I don't want to insult anybody, but I don't think anybody's overrating the Lions wide receivers. So I wouldn't think that. I don't know. Maybe that could be a Lion fan. What are you? What are you? Gosh, I missed a lot of these comments. I'm sorry, guys, and I'm not keeping up with these. LOL. Good morning, brother. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony, I know Anthony is a Bear fan. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Anthony is a Bear fan. Jason.
Hey, Russ, I'm going to jump off here, man. Thanks for having me on. Can I plug the show real quick before I go?
You always jump right in. Plug that show.
It's the NFC North Open Mic Night, broadcasting live on Facebook from the main event every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. All 4 fan bases from the NFC North are in there. We're talking smack. It's a shit-talking group, so bring your thick skin. Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Every Monday night is the NFC North Open Mic. One pride.
One pride. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming in and giving your analysis. We love, and he's a better host than I am. I come on here just because I love talking football, but Mike is an excellent host. He knows how to ask the question, especially when a bunch of people are hot-headed and they're really getting into it. So we appreciate that. We are broadcasting live right now into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad NFC North Mane Event, Detroit Lions news. Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, follow the pages, because that's how we reach the most avid football fans. Because if you're watching right now, you obviously are a football fan because it's freaking June and we're talking football right here. And we were just talking biggest fears for your team. And I'm getting into some of these comments. The Vikings should hope to hit big with Jordan Addison. So would that be a fear for you that Jordan Addison is just he's 175 pounds soaking wet. So this is a big boy league. I mean, is he going to be able to, withstand the punishment? That would be my biggest fear with that player. And if you're the other teams, I would fear that he is the truth, that you can't get your hands on him. That dude was at USC. Very hard to get a hands on him. Very good in space. Very hard to tackle. New helmet alert. By the power of Ra. I got you. Power of Ra. Yep, Amon-Ra St. Brown moving his way up the charts. I mean, as a 4th round draft pick, what would you have really expected as a Lion fan? I mean, you were expecting to get a contributing wide receiver. You were hoping that you were going to get somebody that could contribute a little bit on the slot. You would have never thought you would have got the guy that you got. The guy that has every single wide receiver that went before him memorized because he's going to have better careers than all of them. And that includes Jamar Chase. He's going to have a better career. He's going to outlast those guys because of the way that he works. And it's about all of the things that he does that has nothing to do with being a wide receiver, about character, about being a man, about how he shows up a little bit earlier than everybody else, working on his routes, working on his craft. And that's a rare thing. And if you have a guy like that on your team, and most teams have a guy like that, but if you're gifted enough to have a couple guys like Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and I'm just talking from a work perspective, I am talking from wide receiver versus quarterback. You just want guys like that know about eating regimens. I mean, his dad was Mr. Olympia. He knows about diet and how to keep your body in shape 365 days a year. That if you want to be successful, longevity, that you can't take the off season off. Mm-hmm. Because the best players are practicing while you're out partying, and they are getting better than you. It is what it is. Testing. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. I don't know. Are you having a hard time hearing me?
No, I can hear you just fine.
I feel like I sound okay. I feel I'm in my ears. I'm there. Extend his contract now. You know what? I believe that Brad Holmes has a plan, and like bookkeeping is one of his biggest strengths. And I noticed that he doesn't get emotional in contract negotiations with people. It isn't what you think that you're worth. If you think you're worth, go out and get what you're worth. This is what we pay for this position and what we have allocated. And I love the way that he handled the Jamal Williams things. Jamal Williams, I want to go out and get my money. Okay, that's cool. Well, by 4 p.m., we're going to make a decision. And we're going to pay you $6 million a year or whatever, $5.5 million. Let your agent know. So his agent dropped the ball by not getting back with him. And Brad Holmes stayed true to his word. And at 4:03, he had his contingency plan signed in David Montgomery for the same amount of money. And he was willing to respect him on that deal. But business is business, folks. And I love the business part about that. And if you don't have a good business person, they operate in emotion, you can find it. You know, I really believe Gutekunst got caught in an emotional battle that may not have been all his fault. But you have to navigate that stuff. And when business came down to business, Gutekunst took care of business, right?
Yep.
You could have got 3 first-round picks. That does hurt feelings to Packer fans. I know you have to be hurt that you could have had that Denver deal. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. They would have taken Aaron Rodgers in that same deal. You might have even been able to get more out of him, to be honest.
Just to complete
Aaron Rodgers. I mean, coming off of an MVP season, come on, man. You might have been able to just take them right to the cleaners, which really Seattle did.
Yeah.
Now they have a playoff team and 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. Look out for Seattle. I'm telling you. They have the capital
I'm not buying their team.
Well,
they got a lot of picks, but their quarterback Geno Smith is something I'm not buying into.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I can't buy Geno Smith, but I will also buy that they've built the team around them, and they've hit on some late round picks even. Especially when you're talking about that Woolen, the cornerback that they got in the 5th round, that was all pro almost. I think he went to the Pro Bowl, but one of the better drafters. And yeah, Geno Smith, there's giant question marks, and their front office decided to sign him to a 3-year deal. And that doesn't install confidence into anybody, right? The 3-year deals, they're not committing to him. He's a bridge quarterback that got 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to just make Caleb Williams happen, right? Just make sure they get that guy. You know, get this franchise changing guy right now? Trevor Lawrence? Are you worried about him taking over the league?
No.
No?
Trevor Lawrence is something I got high hopes in.
You think that he's going to be good or not?
I think he's going to be really good. I think from going from two first overall picks to Trevor Lawrence and then skyrocketing to the playoffs and winning a playoff game is a very big accomplishment. That is a really big accomplishment.
I like that.
And that's something that I have high hopes in, because now that they're winning stuff, they get more talent, they start winning more. And Trevor Lawrence is a guy that would take a cut to stay on his team, because he's that passionate about the team he plays.
We'll see, but he does seem like he has that high of a character. And I want to hit Adam's question here, and I want to hear it. I'm going to give my take on this, and then you can, because I know what every optimistic Packer fan thinks. It's like, can we hear an optimistic Packers take from the Packers fan? Best case scenario. I'll let you answer it first, and then I'm going to let you hear a good case scenario from the Lions fan.
I wonder what your scenario is, but
I'll do mine first. Do you want me to do mine first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first, and I'll throw in.
Okay, so I'll kind of tag this in with the biggest fears too, because there's a lot of Lions fans that are assuming that Jordan Love is just going to be this bust. Okay, so Jordan Love was the guy that was practicing with the ones last year, because Aaron Rodgers was on his dark retreat or whatever the hell it is that he does every year in the offseason. But he certainly wasn't working with the rookie wide receivers. So the Packers, to be good, if Jordan Love plays up to the level and he's mobile and they really get that running game going with that great offensive line, and Joe Barry gets those 8 first-round draft picks running on that defense, I mean, you could have a top 10 defense and I think a top 15 offense with run and pass. And yeah, you could win 11, 12 games, I think, on the ceiling of that. So that's the optimistic look from a Lion fan perspective.
You're generous. The generosity coming from a Lions fan, that surprised me right there. You were very generous in that. And I'll go ahead and throw mine in. Like you said, the defense. If the defense starts playing at the level, we could easily have a top 10 defense. Mm-hmm. But another thing I want to hit on, if Jordan Love comes out his first season starting and plays like he did, like Geno Smith played, then we most definitely will have a very decent quarterback, because Geno Smith's 31, Jordan Love's 25.
Right. Yeah.
That's such a high ceiling if he comes and plays like Geno Smith next year.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, like, I don't think that that's going to happen, but I do this thing with all 4 teams in the NFC North in my own mind, so that where I can take it at an honest floor and an honest ceiling. And I think that you are capped at 11, 12 wins with a brand new regime. I think that, I mean, if everything fires and does well and you're there, I think that you could win 11 games. But the thing is I also believe that if Love is average, that the drop off between that from Rodgers, that you're going to lose double-digit games if he's only average. That's where I disagree with average Packer fan, because average ain't going to cut it.
That's why I said his first season, is because if he comes out and plays average, that's a lot better than everybody already thought.
But you're going to lose a lot of games in that way, because and they shouldn't blame Love if he comes out and plays average, because that's actually good. But you may lose 9 or 10 games if he's just average. But if you can get him to come out and do that Geno Smith thing and actually run that offense to where he's a plus player, then you can be in that conversation. I mean, and that's really what it is. That's the fine line. The Packers defense is there. Justin Fields has all the questions to answer from the Bears. He couldn't beat that defense last year. He's the one with the questions. Aaron Rodgers don't play defense. So they have the questions to answer. Can Justin Fields get it done against the Packers defense? And the last time that they played the Lions, they scored 10 points. Can they produce against the Lions defense? Now, everybody's going to produce against the Vikings defense. So maybe you can get a couple gimme wins there and get your offense rolling a little bit. But I expect the Lions and the Green Bay's defenses to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I expect that the Chicago's defense is going to be improved. If they don't have any injuries, they could be okay. But I think that they're a little more optimistic than they should be.
Yeah.
Because they got good players, but they don't have any depth. They don't have.
Yeah.
It's
like getting shiny new rims on a Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh, Barry, I don't want to put your cuss words on here, but he says Brian can F off. Okay, Barry does not like Gutekunst or anything. He's very mad about the Rodgers situation and the way that was handled. So there's where his animosity is coming from. But Rob says the Lions dropped their new helmet design. That's cool. I mean, whatever they want to use to sell merchandise, I really don't care. I love the Lions. 90s look. I hope they're going to bring back the black design. I like the black and the blue. I like that. We want to go back to a winning tradition. Let's go back to the 57 Chevy. Yeah.
57 Chevy.
Because the people that remember our last championship are they're few and far between. There's not very many of them left. And the diehards, they deserve it in Detroit, folks. We have hungrier fans than any fan base in the NFL, and there's nothing against you guys. It's okay, but you guys know what victory feels like. So
you got to exclude the Vikings.
Well, the Vikings try to claim a victory, so they're holding on to a piece that was what was that where they had to share the championship, like was it 72 or something like that. Wasn't there a championship that they claim that they won their side of it, but then they got crushed in the championship game or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the story is. Somebody's got to come in and tell me.
I don't see a Super Bowl trophy, so I can't.
I don't see it. I don't see it. So maybe a Viking fan could say as much, but I don't know. Our franchise has been pretty pathetic throughout the years. A lot of people would say that they ruined Barry Sanders, the best running back of all time. They ruined him. They should have won a championship with him. They should have won a championship with Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson, two the greatest, and the franchise let them down. They mismanaged the front office mismanaged that situation when they had those three great.
But you
players.
also forget that Randy Moss was on the Vikings.
Randy Moss was on the Vikings. Yes. They had Chris Carter on the Vikings. They had Adrian Peterson on the Vikings. I mean, they've had some great players on the Vikings too. And honestly, they've gotten a lot closer to the success than the Lions ever did to not win. So I would argue that might even be more painful because they've been to the promised
They've actually made it to Super Bowls. They've just been getting destroyed every time.
But the thing is, from a Lion fan, it's just like after a while, you're trying to get through. I'm not going to give up on them now. Like, why would you give up on them? It's like it just tastes that much sweeter when it happens. If it happens, I may be 70. I don't even know. But it does feel like if you're a Lion fan, that it isn't just this year. It doesn't feel like a just this year thing. It feels like this team is on the first year of a window of competing for Lombardi trophies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, if you make it to the playoffs, if you're a playoff team, then you're competing for a Lombardi. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, your championship that you got, you were 7th seed or 6th seed. You were the lowest seed, got hot.
Yeah.
You can do that in the NFL. You can be hot at the right time, then maybe not have the best record. And then you can, like a bulldozer, run through a couple teams. Next thing you know, you're in a Super Bowl and you're competing for the title. Look at the New York Giants. They beat arguably the best team of all time in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was a loaded Randy Moss, 50 touchdown, Tom Brady, epic year. That was one of the greatest teams. And then you got beat. So just to compete, you want to have a team that you think that can get into the playoff and do some stuff. And the Lions got that team. They got that team for a while. I mean, this offensive line and defensive line are signed for 4 years. They ain't going nowhere. The meat of this team is going to be here. Some other parts might change. Running backs, wide receivers, other guys that run in that system. But those offensive and defensive linemen that kick your ass, the guys that win the fights, those guys ain't changing. They're here. They're here to win titles, and they're going to be here. They're paying those guys to be here to win fights. And because they play a different game on the line. It ain't about scoring touchdowns and this and that. It's about attitude, you know? It's about deciding the tempo of the game. And if you're the team that dictates that, you're the team that's winning the line of scrimmage, then you have a better chance to win in almost every single situation. You can beat talent with physicality in the NFL. But first logo, excuse me, 61 logo, man. We've been going for an hour and a half, man. And I really appreciate everybody coming on here. I'm just kind of like running out of things here. And
yeah,
I do
exactly.
want to go. So, but it was a great conversation. This was good when you're talking about the biggest fear for your team. And this is going to be up. This post will be up until tomorrow. Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. And, make sure that you argue with a couple people. Make sure that you go out and like and follow these pages if you like this type of conversation. My name is Russell Wayne. This is Evan, the Packer fan. And we do this every morning, 11 a.m. We talk some football. And,
Get some football going.
And I'm going to find my outro here. I'm sorry. I'm looking for my outro. There we go. But so like I said, we're streaming live into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad NFC North Mane Event. Detroit Lions news. Like I can't tell you guys enough how much we appreciate being able to stream live into that 54,000 follower page and really connect with you Lion fans in there. Bill the Packer fan, you're 37,000 Packer fans. We appreciate that. And Mike the Bear fan, not so many Bear fans, but he's climbing up there. He's feeling pretty good. He's got more followers than I do. So please like the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. We need to catch up a little bit. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless.
Go Pack, go.